let's get started. We're going to be showing a new version of the tools, which will be released probably later today. Something I've been working on. And here we go. Now, while people show up, let's just start it with the boring stuff. I like it, but I know it's pretty useless. So one thing you can do, a lot of people don't mess with this stuff here. All I'm doing is right clicking anywhere on the form and you can customize it. Let's say you want to change the color because you don't like my default color. You can go to custom color. You can pick any color you want. That's boring. You can also do this. You can have active color, which is just silly, but why not, right? And what it does is it's just going to be changing the color and it randomly picks the color to go to, and it's like a fluid motion. It's kind of cool. I saw it on wallpaper and I thought, oh, maybe I should do that. And here we go. You can also do this. All right. Transparent form. Now, funny enough, this works on every version of Windows except Windows XP. Our good buddy of mine, C16, he has had Windows XP, and if you would try to click right here in between the buttons, it actually will go right through to the Windows desktop, which is ridiculous. I don't even know how. I didn't do that on purpose. Anyways, if you find that you've messed with this too much, let's say you did this and it looks really weird and you don't know what to do, reset everything, puts you right back. So let's start with something that I've seen. It's come up a lot lately. I'm not going to go in any specific order. I'm just going to call out whatever I'm going to do and just show it to you. So batch renamer. I think this is a very useful tool. Let's say we look at, this is the releases from last week. Now this is fine if you're going to put it on your Xbox, but obviously once you start having several hundred, several thousand of these files, this is not very helpful for you to keep it organized. So this is what you do. All you got to do, you drag and drop one here. It finds a folder, it sees how many files there are. Now it's ready to go. All you do, you choose your renaming options. If you leave it at default, it's going to be the best way to work with your Xbox. Now the Xbox has limitations. So for example, you can have file names that are too long. You can have file names that have certain characters. So by coming in here and you just hit begin, it renames them. And you can see over here all the files are renamed correctly, and they're in a way that the Xbox can take. A lot of users lately have been posting, oh, I'm getting this error from Horizon, I'm getting this error from Party Buffalo, and they're all the same thing. The file name cannot be too long, the file name can have some characters. This fixes that. Now let's say you want to have a collection like I have of every custom ever made, and you want to have the full name of the file. You can come here, click ignore Xbox file system limitations. You click begin again, and it's going to rename the files again. Now you see, for example, this one here, wham, has an exclamation point that comes back up. It wasn't there before because the Xbox wouldn't like it. So you can do that. Another useful function, if you have, like I do, several thousand files, you can click this option on the sorting options, try to sort files. And then you can even go as far as try detailed subsorting, and then it'll separate the export only songs. Now you don't have to do this obviously, and what each one of them do, you can read the very lengthy details in the changelog and all the help documentation. I'm not gonna go through that, you still gotta read that, but once you click begin, there you go. Now we have a folder called C3 DLC, and it's all there. If it was Rock Band 1, it'll be separated by Rock Band 1. If it was Rock Band Network, it'll say that. If it was from one of the exports, it will tell you that. So in this case, it will C3, so here we go. Now, the other useful tool that I use a lot, and I know my buddy C16 uses every week, is a pack creator. And a lot of people just do not understand the point of this, so I guess let's try to explain it. When the game is loading files, every single file that is on your Xbox hard drive is one file it has to read. It has to read that DTA file. And so let's say you just buy a bunch of songs and you got 2,000 songs and you bought them one at a time. That means you got somewhere around 1,500 items are loading when you're loading the game. So that takes a while. Now you can use Pack Creator. You can combine them into packs. So for example, here we got 13 songs. You can just drag and drop here. Find 13 songs. Let's create a name for the pack. C3 release 7/11/14. Now, if you want to change all these icons, thumbnails, you can click here, the little arrow. These are all the thumbnails available to you from the songs that you're putting into that pack. You can use that. This is good, for example, if you're doing like a pack of all from the same album or the same artist, and you just want to use the same album art. You don't have to do that. You can also just click here on the, we're going to use a C3 pack. You don't have to put anything here, but let's do that. Now, that came out real quick because if you press C and 3, this comes out automatically. And here we go. All you got to do is click. And we're talking about, what, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, you have a pack. There you go. Your pack is created. So now you have this one pack that has 13 songs inside, and when your game is loading, it's only loading that one file. Now, if you extrapolate that, what I've done, what C16 has done, and some other people have begun to do now, is you can do a 4 gigabyte pack. I have packs that have 100 and something songs in it, and that's one file that loads instead of 120 songs that load. So that makes loading a runtime a lot quicker. Now let's say you want to see what you put in there. You click View Package, and it goes into Con Explorer. Con Explorer basically lets you see your files. It also opens live files. Everything here that works with the con file will work with a live file, but you know, I didn't want to have Con and Live Explorer, Con and Live Creator. It's unnecessary. So from here, another option that we have is Extract Package. And there you go. Here we go. It's all extracted. You have the thumbnails, you got the header details in case you want to read them for whatever reason, and this is your folder structure. So you can see you got the one songs DTA, you got all the different files. It works. It's quick. I think it's useful nowadays. You're not going to be doing much of this unless you're fixing up an old custom, and even then, if I make a magma video, then you'll see you don't even need to go through this step here. Now, one that is very popular is the Quick Pack Editor. And this came about after we started making packs. People decided, well, what if I want to edit a pack? So let's go back. And I don't know why I deleted this pack. Come back here. Okay, so here we go. We got this pack, so you can go out. Drag and drop always works. So whenever you're in doubt, you don't know, you're just starting to use a new feature, always try to drag and drop. I like drag and drop. I always put the open button and put the option to browse, but that's just because some people really like that. I think it's unnecessary. It's 2014. Let's get going with the feature. Drag and drop, make things faster. So now here you have all the songs that are in the pack. This works with the official DLC packs, exports. So like if you want to get rid of that silly song of the century from Green Day, this is how you would do it. So you got two choices. My favorite way of doing things is dpack. What does dpack do? Well, it separates everything in that pack into individual con files. So let's say you have the Rock Band 2 export. That's going to be a live file, and it's going to have 80 something songs. You click dpack, or in this case, we got 14 songs, 13 songs, whatever. Click dpack, and again, it's a matter of seconds. It's going to separate it. It's going to give you individual files. And this is useful because we're doing a lot of bundling with Pro Exports. If you want to bundle, you need to have the files separated. So this is one way to do it. There are a lot of options when you're doing this. Let's go back into it. You have the option to batch dpack. Let's say, like, I know when I added this feature, it was on request. Colombo was doing a bunch of dpacking. He had a whole folder full of packs. You don't want to go one by one. So you click batch dpack, and it's telling you it's going to take a little bit, yes, whatever. You click yes, and it's just going to start doing it for you. And it's just going to go. It might take a while. Unless it tells you something like I crashed, there was an error, it's working. Once you have those separated, then you can do whatever you want with them. In this case, a lot of people have been asking, how do I convert a file from live to con? Well, you can use this. The dpack will do it, but it's not the most efficient way, but it is one way of doing it. Let me show you another thing you can do here. You don't have to dpack everything. Let's say you just want to get rid of one song, like let's say on the Green Day song of the century. So let's say this Aldo Nova song. Sorry if you like it. I don't know what it is. Let's get rid of it. So you select it. You can also select multiple files. Just press and hold Control. You can select as many as you want. Click on the one you want to get rid of. Click Remove Selected. Now, this still hasn't saved to the file. So you can keep on doing it. If let's say you delete the wrong one, you want to put it back, you can restore and you're back over here. So whatever, let's get rid of Aldo Nova. We remove it. Now you gotta click repack, and that's actually gonna save the changes to it. You have this option here that's gonna be on by default, create backup, and I suggest you keep it in case you mess up something. You will have a backup that is created for you before any changes are made. But it's up to you. So repack, and again, it's a matter of seconds. So it's really just a couple of seconds of your day, and now you have Green Day with that song of the century, for example, or in this case, that one song. So let's open the new one. Now you see you have 12 song entries instead of 13, which we had before. So that's pretty much what there is to Quick Pack Editors. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There are some options here under advanced. I'll let you experiment with that. Pretty straightforward, I think. You also find help in the right corner. You click on help, you get this very nice help document. You can expand it, knock yourself out. I really recommend you guys read it. When I do this, I create all these documents for you so that you guys are not struggling, but it looks like a lot of people just don't even bother with them. But I can't force you. Now let's take a look at Con Explorer. Now, so from here you can click straight to visualize. If all you're doing, I know a couple of our admins only ever use the tools to visualize. That's fine. You can just go straight to the visualizer. But let's click visualize, and here we go. Visualizer is probably one of my favorite features. Is one of the first ones I worked on. To this day, I think it's one of the better ones. And I think by now everybody's using it. If you're not using it, really, there's no reason why you shouldn't use it. It's quick, it's easy. You click save image, it goes straight up to Imgur. You got your link copied to your clipboard, and that's it. I mean, talking about seconds, and you can display this image that tells everybody anything they need to know about the song, pretty much. Now, some things you may not know, all of these buttons over here, when you're using Magma C3, you can tell it to use these. For some reason, this song doesn't have anything that goes to that. That's fine. But let's say that this song was multi-track and it wasn't added before. You want to add it here. You can double click on the multi-track icon. Or let's say it was karaoke. You can actually click, drag, and drop it, and it also works the same way. You can move things around. Everything's drag and drop, click, right click. It's all pretty straightforward. Let's see. Now, you also have this feature we added recently, which is custom themes. I think we added that started Christmas. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But based on the time of year, this one here is going to auto-populate. For example, now it's July, so you have the Independence Day. You click on that, it shows up. Let's say you make your own. The instructions tell you all you have to do is give it a specific naming convention, and you put it in the right place, and you come in here and you just put it in. So let's say for St. Valentine's, I know it's love. So you click love, and now you have the love one. You can hide it. So with this, you can create your own. Just follow the instructions, and you can have any kind of theme you want and customize the image. You can also customize these icons. They're all found as PNG images under the rest folder, I believe. And they're loaded at runtime, so whatever you have, I think Canuck is using his own custom one. You can customize it. In essence, this is what we believe you're going to use the most, but you can make your own, and it's fine. Let me find one that has a long name. This one. For example, another option I don't see a lot of people using is the split function. So let's say you have this very long name. It's a little bit hard to read. It's too long. So you click split, and now it's automatically going to try to find the middle point and split it there for you. You can also then manually adjust the font size if you want, but it tends to pick the correct size for you. You can also move it around. This little, I don't even know what they're called. The little icons here, you click on it, and then you can just move your mouse around, and you're moving it to wherever you want. This is typically useful only when you have really long names, but it's good to know. You can also customize the colors. I don't know why I spend so much time making things customizable, but I do. And there you go. You want to change the color for the text of the name of the song. There you go. Everything can be customized pretty much. Some of the authors I know they enjoy that. They have made some custom skins that you can find on the forums. But for the most part, it's just there because it was fun to add. So that's pretty much Visualizer for you. All you do here is save image, uploading. There you go. So I think it's pretty useful function, pretty quick. So back on Con Explorer, we should not be doing anything that's not for Rock Band 3, but if you have a need to make it be for Rock Band 2 or Rock Band 1, you can also customize it here. Now this is the big question: how do you make a live file, which will be something that you purchase and you have it on your Xbox dashboard? How do you make that into a custom format, into a con? All you gotta do is come from live and click con, click save. Or vice versa, if you're con and you have a JTAG and you want to put it as a live file, you just click live, click save. Whenever there's something that you need to save in order for it to stick, you'll see over here you got asterisk around the name of the song. So click save, it's rebuilding, there we go. Now it opens up again and now it's a live file. That's all there is to it. You don't have to use any other tools. You don't have to go do any crazy things. I've seen some people breaking them down, then rebuilding them as a live file. That makes no sense. You don't have to do that. Now let's go through the files here. Let's say you want to edit the metadata, which is something that people ask a lot. In the future, there will be something I'm working on that's going to make this a little bit easier. For the time being, you have two choices. This is the first one, and then we're going to get to this one here, which is Quick DTA Editor. You can right click, extract, or like I said, drag and drop. So you click on it, drag and drop it out. There you go. You open that file, you make any changes you need to make, close it. Now come back here. You can again right click, replace, or select it and drag and drop over it. It's going to ask you, do you want to replace? Yes. That's it. Now again, since you made a change, until you save, it's still going to show as not being completed. So you come back here to information, click save. There you go. That's all there is to it. It's really not that complicated. Now I know you need to understand what each of these items in the song DTA file do, and I guess that's the need for the next tool I'm working on. But for the most part, you're looking at changing the name, which is straightforward. It's right here. The artist. That's pretty much all that it is. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Or you can always ask on the forums. Now you can also do that with the Quick DTA editor. Essentially what this is doing is what we just did, but it's going to do it for you. So you drop a song into it. It's going to extract the DTA file. It's going to open it for you. And that's it. All you got to do now is change the name. For example, I think this name is too long. I don't know who Greg Wallace is. I don't like to have him there. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but let's just get rid of that. So you edit that. That's it. Now in the game, it's going to show this way. It's not going to show the other names. But on the visualizer, it will, because you have all these items at the bottom that are specifically added for visualizer if you're using Magma C3. So you also have to edit it here. That's it. Now you close to exit. Yes, you want to save. That's it. So now let's open that file in visualizer. This is the original. The backup. Look at how long that name is. Let's split it. It's still very long, very small. Now let's open the other one, the one we just edited. Now you can tell it's already gone from the file. Click split. There you go. So Greg Wallace and John Turode are gone. And it's as simple as that. With that, you can change the difficulty, you can change the rating, you can change the year. It's just a matter of editing text on a text file. There's nothing else to it. Let's see. So batch extractor is another useful one. It's not that useful for most of you guys. I think PK Sage uses it a lot. I used it a lot at some points. Now I don't have a need for it anymore, but it's still here. So again, drag and drop. It finds all the files that are there. And here you can select what you want to extract. So the most useful one, I guess, would be the DTA. If you like looking at the album art, you can click here to do the PNG Xbox files, which is album art. If you want to get the Midi files, again, MOG files are for the audio. Milo files you're really not going to do anything with, but they're there for maybe future proof. Maybe somebody in the future will figure out what we can do with them. But for now, there's not much you can do with them. So you select what you want to extract. You click extract. And again, it's a matter of seconds. There we go. All the files are out. So you got your album art here, which is a PNG Xbox files. So let's say you have all of these album art files and you want to see what they look like. or you want to have them for whatever reason, you can come here to a year or so. All you do, again, drag and drop, and now it tells you how many PNG Xbox files there are. You got 15 of them, so you click. You can choose to convert to PNG, to JPEG, or bitmap. They all work. They all are saved at the highest quality possible, so you're not really gonna lose any quality from in the process. And then all you do is click convert, and that's all there is to it. Again, everything I have done it in a way to make it as quick as possible, as efficient as possible. So if you see a way we can make it better, let me know. I'm still trying to make this better for you guys. And here you have the album art files. Now, if you were around back 2-3 years ago, you know that the album art used to be just horrible quality. Over the last 6 months, I think, with the help of a few of our forum members, we managed to improve on that. And so now we actually have album art that is better than Harmonix's own. And you might be thinking, well, how the hell do you do that? And it's, a lot of the choices that Harmonix made were for efficiency. They knew they were going to have a lot of songs. They knew the game has limitations, so they settled on a specific format that was pretty good, but it wasn't excellent. So some of our files now are, let's say, 4 times the resolution, 2 or 3 times the image quality. So you're looking at files that are being used by the game for textures. We're using those kind of files now for album art. I know we have at least one of our authors. I'm not gonna put him out there, but he has used, I think, 5 megabytes just for an album art image. It was 2048 by 2048, which is ridiculous, but hey, I give you the choice. You do whatever you want with it. I'm not here to judge. Now, the other thing that we figured out when we started messing around with all these art files is that the old games, and even the newer games, use Milo files to have, among other things, textures. So let's say you're a big Beatles fan, and I think you should have already seen that when I put it up. You can go through the Milo files that are in the game on the disk. You have to go through the process of extracting them, and I'm not going to tell you how to do that. You can figure that out on your own. But once you have those Milo files, before there was nothing we can do with them. But then we have our very good, very own Pikmin Guts 92. He, doesn't get enough credit for what he's done. He figured out how to go through the Milo files. He figured out that they contain images inside of them and how to get them out. So all I did was add the feature here, but he did all the hard work. And again, convert, and now it's searching. Unlike the album art, where you just have, each album art is obviously one image, the Milo files can have several hundred images inside. So it takes a little bit longer, but when it's done, you get to see exactly what the game uses for its texture. So, it's kind of fun. If you're making, let's say, a theme for Phase Shift or Threats on Fire, you can use this. It's very helpful. So let's go here. Now we're looking at all the textures that they use on the rooftop video on the Beatles. So you got some birds, I don't know. And you can do the same thing with RB3 files, with any of the games. They all work now. I think even most of the Dance Central games are also supported now. So now, one of the more useful features we have is the Midi cleaner. Now this is intended for you to use if you're converting songs. And I see a lot of people, and I'm very, very happy to see that this has happened. But we have a lot of new members who are starting to do conversions. So we have a lot of people working on Frets on Fire songs and old Guitar Hero songs. And at this rate, we might see all of the songs being converted. So this is great. But when you're starting, you absolutely need to throw your song at Midi Cleaner first. Frets on Fire and Phase Shift are very lenient in the way that they work. So you can have notes that have 0 length. You can have all kinds of things that are going to mess with Rock Band, are going to mess with Magma, and you want to save yourself the hassle of having to manually do it. We're talking some songs, you can have 5,000 things that need to be fixed, and that's just an estimate. So let me show you. I got some old customs here, and I'm sorry if you're the one who created them. I just picked them at random. So let's try one. Let's do Tupac, California Love. Now, you gotta come to your options, and by default, I believe this is unchecked. So you wanna actually click on it, So it's enabled, and you're gonna get a detailed log of everything that happens. You can this you don't need to mess with. Everything else you can pretty much leave it as it is. You can change it if you want to mess with the settings. Go to help, look at all the very detailed help information. Just click begin, and let's see. So for this song, it fixed a total of 4,315 things. Now you may think, how the hell did this song work if it had all these problems? And as you can, if you just start going through it, you'll see the problems are in the duration. Duration that was too short, duration that was too short. All of this means that on Frets and Fire it's gonna work fine, and in the game it will work fine as well, but not Magma's not gonna approve it. And when you're putting this into Reaper, it's gonna be just a huge pain to work with it, because the files, the notes are not going to have any length to them, so you can't drag them around. You can almost do nothing with them. But you can see that, I mean, I don't know, hopefully you can read this in the video, but essentially it's all the same thing. Duration that was too short, and it happens for all the instruments. But that aside, this song didn't seem to have anything else that was wrong with it. So it would have worked fine in the game, but it saves you all the trouble if you're going to actually try to fix it up and add new features to it. How long did that take? It took 1 second to fix it. Now that con file that we dropped in here is a little bit better. You can also just throw a Midi file at it. So let's try this. Come to contents. You get the Midi file. Again, drag and drop always works. You have the Midi out here. Come back to Midi Cleaner. Throw the Midi at it. Begin. That took, again, 1 second. Now this one actually had some changes that were actually helpful. So let's take a look. You have drum fill overlapping the overdrive marker. So all of these are things that if you read the authoring docs, you'll see that you're not supposed to do, or you can do but you shouldn't do. And some of them are just straight up going to break the game, or they're going to break Magma. So you want to try to avoid these things, and there is no reason for you not to go through here. Now once you've done that and you throw it again on it, it's going to tell you there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to fix. So if you throw your custom song at it and it tells you there's nothing wrong with it, excellent. If there is something wrong with it, why not fix it? And then when you throw it again, you can tell that it's fixed and you're good. So I mean, this doesn't catch everything, but it's a very good starting point, and I strongly suggest that everybody does it, especially if you're starting to learn how to do conversions. Start with this, do it. It's very helpful. Now this one is this is added as a joke. I'm not going to bring that back up again, but let's just say this was created as a joke to mess with somebody. And I thought once I started working on it, you know, that this can actually be useful. And I know at least one of our 4 members seems to really, really enjoy using it. And every once in a while, I take a look at it. It's a good way to see what there is and what there isn't in your song. So let's take, again, this Eminem song. Just throw it at it. So what can you see from here? Well, you get the length of the song, so you know that the DTA file has that correctly. You see how many tracks there are. You see how many notes there are. And then all kinds of useful things. So for example, does it have an events track? Yes. How many measures there are? 96. Time signature markers, 1. Now this is Eminem. So yeah, it's probably on a beat track, it's fine. But let's say that it was a Dream Theater song, and you come in here and you drop it and it says time signature markers 1. Now you know there's a problem, because there is no way a Dream Theater song only has 1 time signature. Tempo markers 138, so that means that this person actually tempo mapped the song. Might not be perfect, but it's better than having 0 or just 1 straight tempo. And the same way you have beat track, yes, venue track, yes. So it shows you that there is some work that went into this. And you have all kinds of things to look at. Now, has drum? Yes. So it means you got drums. But then you can tell from here, it doesn't have bass, it doesn't have guitar, it doesn't have vocals, it doesn't have... So this is just a straight up drums only custom. It's useful, I guess. Let's find one that actually has lyrics. And I believe this is an excellent custom, old one, but very good. So this one has vocals, I believe. Yes. So it has vocals. So this is a new feature we added. You can come here, export lyrics, And if it had harmonies, this will be enabled. This song only has lead vocal, so you can only do this. Now you got two choices. You can leave it separated. This is if, let's say, you want to work on the song, you already have it imported into Reaper, and there really isn't a way to export the lyrics out of Reaper. There is a way to import a whole text file of lyrics into Reaper, and that's very useful, but there isn't a way to get it out. So with this, you can get it out. If you leave it like this, it's going to be ready to go back into Reaper after you make the changes. So let's do that. And that's all there is to it. Now it's open over here. And you can see you have all the lyrics separated how they had it in the file. So now let's say you want to change something because it's not supposed to be knack. It is supposed to be nap. I don't know. I don't know the song, but let's just change it to nap. Now when you save this and you go into Reaper, and I'm not going to give you a Reaper tutorial, but in Reaper you go to import, it's already ready for you. You don't have to, again, separate it. And this is a hell of a lot easier to fix than going and getting lyrics from a website and having to start from scratch. So I think this helps. The other option is if you're going to be singing along but you don't really know the lyrics too well, you don't want to go to a website, because the website is not going to have exactly what is recorded in the game. So this is a better way of doing it. You click on this option, which is join syllables into whole words, sorry, and now you export again, and here you go. So now it's just in a easier way to read, a lot cleaner, and then you can export to text file. So let's say you want to show off just how badass the solo in your song is. For example, in this song there's an 88-second solo, but it's pretty simple. I mean, it's only got 3 notes per second. I believe one of the recent releases by Firotone had something like, I can't even remember, but it was a ridiculous amount of notes per second. And this is one good way of looking at it, showing it off. You can just export, that's it. Other than that, this is just curiosity, I guess. We also have the converters. I'm not going to go into detail, like I said, unless somebody asks me for help with them. There's extensive documentation on them, and the we thread is very long, very detailed. You can get help there from Stack Overflow. He's very helpful. He knows his things very well. Same thing for the PS3. We've done extensive tutorials and extensive help in the thread, so go to the forums. The only one that doesn't really have one is Phase Shift, and that's because it's pretty straightforward, but then again, it does have help built into it. So just click help if you need help with that. I'm not going to go into detail here. This one is one that it's sad to see that people are still needing it nowadays, because I mean, it's 2014. We've had Magma C3 for a year now. If you're making customs, you should be doing straight to con. I mean, use Magma C3, have it set up to do that. But let's say you found a really old RBA file. Now, in case you don't know what an RBA file is, it's what Magma, the original Magma, will create for you. And sometimes people would just release those because they knew that theoretically only other people that were part of the Rock Band network and had authorization to use it could actually do anything with those files. Then, some very ingenious people, not me, came up with a way of converting them. But it wasn't very quick. It was cumbersome. And so I decided to just go ahead and improve on that. I added it here with his permission. And I think this is a little bit more complete. You can convert RBA files or the secure RBS files, which are very difficult to come by, but they also will work. So all you do, again, drag and drop here. You have some options. When Harmonix does their songs, I believe that they use this format here, where all it shows you on the Xbox dashboard is, the name of the song between quotes. I don't like that because and I know we have a bunch of songs with the same name, different artists. So I want to know which one I'm looking at. So I always do this, and this is the default in Magma as well. You can change it in Magma, but this is the default, artist and then song. So click begin, and again, we're talking a couple seconds, and there you go. So now you have your con files, and there they are. You can visualize it. So obviously this RBA is of my own custom that I think I released last year, and it's just an example. Now if you do this through Magma C3, the con ends up having all the visualizer information. So in here it will tell you that it's got multi-track. It will tell you that I'm the author. But because all we have was the RBA, that's not stored in the RBA, and therefore when we do the conversion, that is lost. That's one of the other reasons why you should convert directly to con using Magma. Let's see what else is there. Wow, it's been 42 minutes already. Now, let's go to file indexer. My Cuban comes out. I had already done this before, just because it does take a long time. Let's say you have a lot of files. For my example, I have a hard drive dedicated to Rock Band. So I have all the customs that I've done. I have all the Beatles conversions, and I have all the Beatles customs. I have every single thing that Guitar Hero to RB3 did, whether it was released, whether it wasn't released, whether I'm using it now or not, I have it. And I also have made a backup of all the songs that I purchased from Harmonix, and I have them on my computer. That also includes like the game song, on disc songs, everything. I have it all backed up just in case my hard drive kicks the bucket on the Xbox. I also have all the pro upgrades that I got in customs, officials, everything. And then I also have the singles and packs. So this is everything I have on my computer. And once you do the indexing, what it does is it creates a list or an index of where everything is. I have a bunch of folders, a bunch of files, so it's not always easy to remember where things are. But with this, now I have 4,892 songs across 3,779 files. So that also tells me when I have something in a pack, this makes it easy to find. And I will show you how to do it. But for example, Weird Al. This is when we did that awesome 12 pack. As you can tell here, I have, let me see, this is the pack. So I have multiple copies because I believe I have them in a pack and I also have them separate. So it shows both ways. So you can then right click and then you can find the file. So open folder that contains the file. It's going to open the file and it's going to highlight it for you. So that's easy. You can also open the file directly in Visualizer. Or you can open it in Con Explorer. Or if it's a pack, I don't know if I have any packs around here. Or let's say this is a pack. No, it's not, but let's say it's a pack. You can also open it in Quick Pack Editor. It shows it's just one song, but there we go. Then you can also do this and only show songs found in this file. So let's say, for example, you find a pack. I don't know where the hell I have a pack here. And you want to see just what kind of songs you have in that pack. You can always right click. And here we go. I found a pack. This is the David Bowie Pack 2. So there all the songs that are in there. This is helpful if you need to edit something or you need to find a file for whatever reason. It helps. So how do you do it? Let's clear folders. There's nothing. So rebuild index. It's gonna take a while. In this case, it's only 54 songs that I have in that folder, so it was quick. That's all there is to it. This is, I think, is an easier way of finding files and just going around your hard drive. And if you have a lot of folders, like I try to keep it organized, but if you have a lot of folders, you can add as many folders as you want. I think I set the limit at 99 folders, I think. So it's all in one place, very easy to find. It's pretty helpful. You can also search. So let's say I'm looking for an Aerosmith song, and here it is. So that's pretty much all there is to File Indexer, but I think it's helpful. Now this is also one of my favorites, Setlist Manager. Now if you're not using this, I don't know what to say to you, because this is, I think, one of the best things that has ever happened. And I have to say, all the hard work that made this possible was done by PK Sage. I mean, he is a genius. He figured out all the binary work, he basically figured out how that file works on a binary level. And then I just took his work and I put it into this. So, I mean, he deserves all the credit. So, how do you do that? You get, this is the song cache file that is on your hard drive or on your USB on the Xbox. So, you copy it over to your desktop, drag and drop. That's it. So, as you can tell, I'm already maxed out on my songs. I'm always maxed out. I've been maxed out for a long time. If you have a Wii, then it's a slightly different process. It's a VFF file, I believe. The same thing. You can just drag and drop it. It'll work. It'll pick up that it's a Wii file. Unfortunately for you PS3 guys, as far as we know, there is no cache file that you guys use, so you're kind of screwed. If you figure it out and if you find that there is one somewhere, send me a message because I want to work with you guys. We couldn't figure it out. It also works with Blitz. So if you need to import a Blitz cache, you have to go through files, then import Blitz. Otherwise, it's gonna assume it's a Rock Band file. So what can you do here? First, what you want to do is you want to rename it, because this name that you got here, song cache, is just based on the name of the file that you threw at it, and then a timestamp, so that you don't have any file conflicts. But that's not helpful. So let's say Nemo Setlist, and now this is my total song count. Now, one of the new features that's coming out with this release is this here, which is find songs marked do not export. That is useful for a couple of reasons. First, before, what I was doing, let me show you first. So let's do find exact duplicates. This is going to give you songs that have the same exact artist and the same exact name, ignoring things like live RB3 versions. This is made specifically so that if you have an RB3 version of a song and you have the original song, when you're exporting this out on a booklet, that's not really helpful to have them both. It really isn't. So you can find this. Before, I was deleting them. So I will come here, I will go do this, and then I would just delete them. But then this is going to reflect that I have, instead of 2,152, it's going to show less songs. And that's not accurate. So I came up with this way, where you can right click on any song that you don't want to be shown on the export file. Do not export this song. And that's all there is to it. And then you do that for all the songs that you don't want to show. For example, I think it's just Bon Jovi happens to be the only one I have, and Queen. So I did it for 5 songs. So now we come here to tools, find songs marked do not export. You have 5 songs. So let's go back to reset all filters. Now, if you're not sure of how many duplicates you have, you can do find possible duplicates. And this is not as strict as find exact duplicates. This will find you songs that have similar names. For example, I have 133 songs that might be duplicates, just because I have 2 songs with the name I Grow Like You. I have 2 songs with the name Alive, 2 songs with the name, and so on and so forth. Obviously, we know that those are not duplicates, so that's not a problem. Then you also have this, find unsupported characters. I'll admit, when I was first starting to work on Magma, there was a whole issue with encoding, and to this day, I just straight up hate encoding. But let's say you have an artist with a weird name. It's something, Nordic. It's something that doesn't have standard characters. It's not always going to show correctly on your game. So you want to fix it in the game. That's done with the quick DTA editor. But if it's already messed up in the game and you don't want to mess with the game files at the moment, but you don't want it to print out looking ridiculous on your booklet, you can come here and fix it. Now, the only 2 I have are intended to be weird, because it's Leonard Skinner and Beethoven's, I'm not going to say, but you get it. So that song is intended to be that way. I don't have any broken ones because I took my time and I fixed them. If you have broken ones, they will show here. You always want to come back to reset all filters so you see your entire set list. Now, options. I really just do not understand why some people don't use the same standard naming conventions. So I think as C3 authors, we came to an understanding that we were going to use FT period for featured artist. So if you're not using that, or you got an old song that doesn't have it, that way you can click here and it's going to find, I think, almost every variety of feature artist and change it to be FT period. Now, the other option you have is you should always have the feature artist in the song name. That way, for example, the way Harmonix did it with, I think it was Maroon 5. You have Maroon 5, and then you have Maroon 5 featuring Christina Aguilera. That should still be Maroon 5. But in the game, it's sorted separately, and that's just annoying. You don't want it on your booklet to do that. You can just click Move Feature Artist to the song name, and it's going to do that. Again, and I know this might be silly to some of you for me to say the next thing I'm going to have to say, but it's been asked. Any changes that you make here is only going to be saved to your set list. Obviously, it's not going to be saved in the song cache file, and it's not going to reflect in the game. And I know it sounds silly, but I've already gotten that question. So anything you do here is just for your own use. Again, you can also straight up remove the feature artist if you don't care about that. I don't take them out, but you can. I don't particularly like distinguishing a live song from a from a studio recording. So I get rid of this. I get rid of the live markers. Same thing with RB3 versions. I get rid of that. You can customize it. The name of the game here is customization. Now, I do keep rhythm versions and I do keep double bass pedal just because I can't really do double bass pedal myself. And I know a lot of people that play with me can't. So if I have a song that's double bass pedal, they're going to suffer with it. And I want them to know before they pick it. All of these options, the rest of the options, I think are pretty self-explanatory. Now, this is a feature that was added recently. It's the lock. So let's say you put a password. Now you can leave this with anybody who's not familiar with the program, and you're not going to be able to do anything. If they try to delete a file, if they try to mess with this in any way, it's just not going to work. So they can't add a new song, they can't make changes to their song, they cannot delete it, and more importantly, they can't close it. It also works if they try to come over here and close it. It also doesn't close. Even if they try to right click here and close all windows, it's still not going to work. So the only way that they'll be able to close it is if they do Control Alt Delete, and if they have the unlock code. So I think that's very useful. Again, nothing works. Everything is there, but nothing makes a difference. And this is useful. Let's say you do I know we have a few people here that host these events regularly. You might want to set up a laptop or something that people can use this, and they don't have to use a book. They can use a digital version. I'm not going to show you how to use it. I mean, just play with it. It's pretty straightforward. You can search by the artist. You can search by the song. You can also sort by the song. If you click on the song header here, you can sort by the artist by clicking on the artist header. Same thing with everything else that's available. And you have all these options for sorting, for finding things. You can hide all the songs. Now only show songs from the Beatles Rock Band. And here I have 74 songs from the Beatles Rock Band, because I'm a big Beatles fan, I guess. Or you can just show them all back. And the same way, with the decades from what the songs are from, the duration of the song. Let's say you want to do an epic song night and you only want to find songs that are longer than, let's say, 10 minutes. I got 15 songs that are longer than 10 minutes. That's going to be a fun night. Now, whatever it is that you're looking at here, and this is what a lot of people they don't understand. Whatever you see here, based on your sorting, based on your filters, based on whatever it is that you did to get to this point, is what's going to export. So if you only want to export the list of songs that are longer than 10 minutes, you do this. Now you see it's showing you 15 songs. You click File, Export. Well, let me unlock it first. File, Export, and now you're only exporting those 15 songs. If you want to export everything, you have to reset all filters, and now you're going to export everything, except the songs that are marked do not export. So let's do export setlist. Now this is something I spent the last week working on, and I'm going to give a shout out to Deadly Robots, who pushed me to do this, to get from that crappy old way we had of exporting that didn't show you a preview, that wasn't really helpful. It was complicated, but I think this is considerably better than we were before. He seems happy with it. I'm happy with it. So essentially now every change that you make to your PDF export is going to be reflected on your right hand side here. So I like using this one. Now this one, when you print it, this format, the Detail 3 has like the icons that tell you what the song has, but unfortunately it takes up a lot more pages. So now we're looking at 49 pages. So what I do is I create a digital PDF, and well, obviously it's digital, but I leave it digital and I just put it on my server. And then on the printed booklets, I have a QR code. They can get this version. What I print out is this one, which is only 26 pages, and it's a lot more doable. And then we also have what Deadly Robots wanted, so I made him his own little version, and this is his version. This is how he likes it. It's 21 pages, and it's pretty good. It looks nice. And all you port, and it's gonna open up for you. I mean, how difficult was that? Now you have your booklet. It's ready to print. It can be customized a lot. I'm not gonna go through the options. Just look at what there is. You can change the font, the color, the sorting can be by artist or by song. You can change the headers. You can change the footer. There's all kinds of options. And even and if after all the combinations, which I believe end up in the hundreds of variations, if you still don't like it and you want to do your own, click on Excel. Now you can do a plain Excel export. You can do a customized or a stylized version, which is gonna let you put colors. It puts a little header, and this still is very useful because you can do, let's say, everything plain bar artist with tier numbers, and now you're gonna have a properly formatted Excel data spreadsheet, which then you can customize to whatever you want. This is still a much better way of starting than starting from scratch and doing it by hand. Everything is there for you already, and then you can choose what you want to look at. So I mean, I strongly suggest people use this. I love it. I use it every week. Every time I make a change to my set list, I use the exporter, and I can't imagine doing it any other way anymore. For a good year and a half, I was doing it just plain old Word. It was done by hand. Every single change I would do it by hand. I would have to do the formatting by hand. Everything was just such a pain, but it was the only way I knew how to do it until this, happened thanks to PK Sage and all his hard work. Now, another thing you can do, which is being added now here, and this is added because something that was mentioned is that Troy Davis, his tool lets you show the new songs that you just got. But that works based on when you purchase a song using DLC Quick Play and whatever. And unfortunately, none of that is stored on the song cache file. So what I'm trying to say is on our end, based on the cache file, I can't tell you which song you just got, which is your new addition. There is no way of knowing that. So what I thought of doing is this. You can create an empty set list, and now you have nothing here. Before, you couldn't even do that, because what was the point of that? But then, well, this is a good way of doing this. No, come back. So now you have nothing on your set list. Let's rename that to new additions. You're gonna see just how long it takes to get this going. So we're gonna add all the songs that were released yesterday. You drag and drop the song, click save. Drag and drop the song, click save. And again, do it over and over. Look at how much time this takes. It's a few seconds. Obviously, if you have a few hundred new songs, it's gonna take a little bit longer. And I do not have a way of doing packs at the moment. I don't even want to think about that because it will be a headache, but it might be done in the future. So that's it. I added 14 songs in less than a minute. Now I can go to export set list, new additions, and that's all there. Export that. Here we go. You look over here, it says new additions. That's it. So that's one way you can do it. I'm sorry, there is no built-in way of telling when you got a song. That's just not stored on your cache file. If Adobe PDF is not good enough for you and you don't like Excel, but you like to do your own thing with your own spreadsheet software, you can use plain text CSV, and it's just going to be straight up text. It can be tab delimited, comma delimited, whichever one you prefer. And what it'll do is just give you the raw data, and then you can just do whatever you want with it. It's still better, like I said, than starting from scratch by hand. At least I think it is. Now let's see. So that's pretty much Setlist Manager. There's another option here, which is to see the details, and similar to. Let's open the big one so you can see some. So similar to the Midi analyzer, this is just for nerds who like to look at statistics. I love looking at statistics. I don't necessarily understand them that well, but I know some people do. So this is fun. It tells you everything you need to know about your cache file, the game that it's coming from, which obviously you will know, the song limit, so you know how far you are from your song limit, how many songs you have, how many packages. For example, earlier on I mentioned one of the benefits of using the pack creator is that you have less items that are loading. So I have 2,152 items, but it's only 354 files that are being loaded. So I'm saving a lot of time. I know for a fact that C16 has several thousand songs and has something like 24 files. So his game loads ridiculously fast. I don't go that far into it, but it's useful. And then here you have everything broken down. So if you're ever wondering, which one's your longest song? Well, my longest song is Rush 2112. My shortest song is Red Hot Chili Peppers, something, I don't know what this is. It used to be Song of the Century, but I got rid of that bastard. And then ratings. So you can see if you're ever going to do an event and you are going to be a bunch of kids and you don't want to have anything that's not family friendly. Well, I still have 1,285 songs that are family friendly. Supervision recommended. I know that I would not want to play mature or not rated songs just because you don't know what the not rated songs are, and you don't want to get into trouble. I know we had at least one user here who would take his Xbox to church. You don't want to do that. So you hide that, only show the family friendly. We're still looking at whatever. I mean, in my case, 1,285 songs. So this is just a bunch of metrics. Again, big Beatles nerd between the export and the customs. I have 87 Beatles songs. I know some of you are gonna have even more, but since I only do complete full band songs, I don't get those. Let me see what else is missing. Oh, event manager. This one, I know a few of you are gonna use it. I think it's great. I've used it a lot of times when I've hosted events. It's better than just using a spreadsheet. I know some people just use a spreadsheet, and I don't know why you want to do that. So this connects to your setlist file. So once you've already created a setlist file, you can click setlist. And now let's say I'm coming up to play and I pick Amish Paradise. I know Amish Paradise because I created that custom, but if I didn't know that song in particular, I click song details and I can see just how long it is. An issue we have when we do our event is we have to be out by 2 in the morning. So if it's 1:30 and I have 10 people in the line, I don't want to have somebody starting to play a song that I don't know. I might be 10, 12 minutes long. So I come in here, I see the length of the song, I see the rating of the song, etc. I mean, it's useful. I know some people have other ways of doing it. This is the way I thought was a good way of doing it. And I'm not going to go through the steps of how to use this. Just know that I think it's a good alternative to host for when you're hosting an event. One thing you can do is you can make it full screen and then you can log it similar to Setlist Manager. Now, while it's locked, they can't close it and they can't exit out of the program. So you can leave this. The only thing that they can do is add something to the queue. So you can have a laptop, you can have a desktop computer with a touchscreen or whatever, and people can add themselves to the set list, but that's it. They can't mess with the set list. They can't mess with the queue. So you don't even have to be doing it yourself. And then whenever you come back to it, you just unlock it, and now you can go back to edit and delete and whatever. It's useful. Like I said, I've used it a few times. You can move the time around, you can hide the time, you can customize the marquee. It's just an image that's found in the rest folder again. Click on help if you have questions on how to use it. It's pretty straightforward, but it's always useful to know what you're doing. Now, I think the only other major feature that's missing is the one that I believe some people actually cared about, which is the upgrade bundler. Now, this was created, I think, for Colombo, and it definitely got improved and fixed up afterwards for Colombo. So shout out goes out to him, because without him we would not really have this. And obviously great shout out to Esfer, who has done a great job with all the upgrades on the Rock Band Harmony project, which we're going to be looking at right now. So let's do first just a straight up pro upgrade. Now this is my custom of Burning For You. So you drag and drop the song over here, which is, like I said, always try to drag and drop. Tells you everything it has. So it has bass, it has guitar, and here you can see the song ID, Burning For You version 6. Now let's get the Pro, drop it over here, and you can see upgrade ID, Burning For You version 6. So that means that Prince Damien, I believe, was the one who created this. He made it specifically for this version. Now, even if it doesn't match, you can still bundle it. I don't care, but it's going to tell you, hey, you're bundling things, the IDs don't match. Are you sure you want to do it? That way, if you're doing it by mistake, you can stop yourself. But if you're doing it because you know that that's the right file, or you just want to see what happens, you can do it. It'll work. That's all there is to it. You drop the Pro over here, you drop the original over here, you click bundle, and again, a couple of seconds later, the file is done. That's all there is to it. So now let's go to Visualizer. This is the original custom. Doesn't have, you can tell here, it doesn't have Pro Guitar, it doesn't have Pro Bass. So open another Visualizer, and now this one has Pro and it has Pro. Now you can also see that the difficulties actually changed, and this is something that back when we started working with Visualizer, back and forth discussion with the authors, they decided that if there was Pro, to go with the difficulty of the Pro instrument. simply because the Pro instruments tend to have different difficulties than 5 buttons, just because what may be easy on a 5 button guitar might not be on an instrument, on a real instrument, and vice versa. I know some songs that are very difficult to do on 5 buttons and just happen to be really easy on a Pro instrument. So we decided if there is Pro, we're going to show the Pro difficulty. So in this case, the Pro difficulty is higher, and that's what you're seeing. But everything else is the same album art, same everything else. And that's it. It works. You don't have to do anything but press bundle and you're ready to go. Now let's get into the more complicated, which will be Rock Band harmony projects. Now, let's look at 2 samples here of adding Pro guitar. Now, let's start with Back in the Saddle. Back in the Saddle, I believe, is one of the more recent songs that Harmonix released before they stopped doing DLC. So that song has harmony parts. That's a new song that was going to have everything in the DTA file that it needs to have. So when you come into the Rock Band Harmony projects file for this song in particular, all you have is the Midi, which you're gonna drop over here, and an upgrades DTA. That means that upgrades DTA has extra information that the game is gonna need to see whatever you're adding. In this case, the Pro Guitar, Pro Bass. If you'll see later the difference, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there is no songs DTA here. You don't need it. All you need is the upgrade CTA and you need the MIDI. What happens if you only add the MIDI file and you don't add the upgrade CTA? It's going to be in the file, but the game is not going to know it. So you need to have both. And obviously, if you add the upgrade CTA and you don't add a MIDI file, the game is going to think that there is an upgrade. And when you try to play it, as I'm sure you can imagine, the game is going to crash. So you don't want to do that. You want to put both on. Click bundle. And that's it. Now let's go to visualizer. Notice the songs, whenever you do a bundling, the original song is never touched. So the original, it's not edited in any way. So you can just mess around with it and you're not gonna risk ruining your file. And then you have the bundled file. And if you look at them side to side, the only difference is, now this one has Pro, this one doesn't have Pro. That's all there is. Because this is a newer song that already had all this information. For example, the length of the song, the year, the rating. Those are things that I guess some people don't know, but the original Rock Band 1 files did not have in them. The only way that you see that now when you have it in the game, Rock Band 3, is because on the disc, there are upgrade files that actually add that to the game. But now let's try with this Oasis song. This is an older song, so it doesn't have harmonies. It doesn't have that kind of information. If we try to look at Oasis over here, it tells you no album art found because old songs didn't have album art in them either. And you can tell all we have is the name of the song, the name of the artist, the genre, and then we have the instruments. There is no rating, there is no album, there is no year, and there is no length for the song. Let's get the Rock Band, the harmony upgrades. Now here you have the plus, which is going to add harmonies, harm 1 and harm 2, real bass and real guitar. You have the upgrades, which you need, again, for the Pro Guitar to show up. And you also have the songs DTA. And you need the songs DTA file because that file is completely going to replace the old one and it's going to become the new bass songs DTA file. That's going to have all that extra information. So once you have all the 3 added, click bundle. Again, a couple of seconds later, the file is done. Come back over here. And now if we compare them side by side, this is the original. There we go. So now in here, we have the length of the song, you have the album name, you have the year, you have the rating, and you have the Pro upgrades. So that's one way of doing it. Now, as you can tell, there is no album art there. And I'm not going to get into how to do it, but there is a way to add it. And it basically will be you coming into Con Explorer, Content, Songs, Wonderwall, Gen. And then in here, you would drop in the album art file, but it needs to be named in a specific way so that the visualizer and the game picks it up. I'm not going to go through that now. You can ask on the forums. It's pretty straightforward, though. The last thing I wanted to show you here is the following, because this is creating some problems when this first went out. For example, Jukebox Zero, great song. It doesn't have, this is an old song. You can tell that it's an old song because it doesn't even have the song ID in the DTA file. That's fine. When you go into the Rock Band Harmonies files, you have the plus, the Midi, and now you see it only has Harmony 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have Pro Guitar, Pro Bass. So why is there an upgrade DTA here? Do you need it? And the answer to that question is no. The way that Rock Band Harmony works, they need it. So if you're doing it the way that Esper told you to do it, you're gonna need that file. But if you're bundling using this program, you don't need it because it's just not necessary. The way that what this upgrade CTA is selling the game is that you're adding all these new features, but they're already here in the song CTA file. So it's again just not necessary. So you just do those two, click bundle, and that's it. Now some caveats because I think it was one of the questions that was asked on the forums. Let's think of a song from Rock Band 1. That song didn't have a few things, like I said. So Rock Band 3, on the disc itself, it has an upgrade for it. Now you also put that song here in the upgrade bundler, and you throw at it whatever it is you want to fix. You put it back in the game, and it's still showing the old information. If you're using it and you make an edit to the conf file, you put that back in the game and now it's still showing what it was showing you before, it's most likely because it's still using what is on the disk. And I don't know if there is a way to overwrite what is on the actual Rock Band 3 disk. If there is, I guarantee you Esper is the one who knows, so go bother him, ask him. This is for the more usual situations with like customs that you want to add a pro upgrade to. You don't want to have two files, you want to have one file. This is the tool to use. But there will be some situations where it's just not going to work, and there's not much we can do about that. Now let's look at that upgraded Jukebox Hero. This is the original again, no album art found. Who would think that these songs would not have album art? Ridiculous. And now we got the other one. So as you can tell, the only difference here is you have the harmonies were added, and now you also have the other metadata like the length of the song, the year was released, and the rating. Now you see you don't have an album name here, and I believe it's because this song is a cover, so there you go. That's all there is to that. So it's all pretty straightforward, I think. Again, everything is done in a way that I think is the easiest, and I've come to realize over the last year that the way I think it's easiest is not easiest for everybody. And so if there is something that could be made better, you can point it out to me. Get on the forums. Just be respectful when you do it. I have spent over 1,000 hours working on these things. We don't make any money on this, so it's all a product of love. So keep the love going when you making suggestions. And I don't know what else is missing. Well, one thing I will mention is, as you can tell here on the right hand side, you have two restricted buttons. I'm not gonna tell you how to use them because they're not for everybody. The top one is created for Rock Band Harmonies people, and if you're one of them, talk to Esper. He'll tell you how to use it. But it's there. Now, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this one here on the bottom is there as a safety precaution for, and this is something that was brought up recently, in case C3 goes out of business, so to speak, even though we don't have any business, and we all just decide to disappear, or for whatever reason we're no longer around, and somebody wants to upgrade our songs, and we can't because your audio is encrypted. And there's a lengthy discussion about this on the forums. If you want to read it, go read it. I'm not gonna get into the pros and cons of why we want to do it. The point is we do encrypt our audio, and if it ever looks like none of the admins are ever going to be around anymore, and we've essentially C3's kicked the bucket, that last button there will help you get through those files, and then we will give instructions on how to do it at that point. But the point is the tools are available. They're just not available to you, not available at this moment. But it'll never be a situation where C3 is gone and nobody has access to the files in the future. That's just not going to happen. We've already planned ahead. And, it looks like we're going strong. I know I'm not around much myself, but we have a good team of admins, and we got a lot of great authors, and a lot of people are still showing interest. So I think it's going to go on for a while. And, as long as you guys want to keep going, my server will be there, and I know things will go as long as we can. So now Now let's see. I don't think I have anything else to add. So unless I get a question, that's just pretty much gonna be it for me. Let me take a look at everything I had here for you guys. Oh well, in case there's no questions, I'll show you this save file image editor. This was pretty much, again, Pigman Guts 92, genius that he is, figured out that there were images stored there in your save file. So I'm like, well, if there's an image there, I want to get that image out. Because, and I missed this boat, but apparently on Rock Band 2, you can actually get like figurines made out of your characters. I wasn't around at that point, so I missed that. And this is the next thing you can do. So you get the Band 3 file, which is your save file, drag and drop. And there you go. This also works for PS3. It also works for Wii. If you want to do it for those two, read the help. It's pretty much the same thing, just drag and drop with a couple little minor changes you have to do. And it's just going to show you all the images that you have created in the game. Obviously, if you delete a character, you delete the image. So it's not like every image you've ever created, only the ones that you currently have. The idea is that you can customize it, you can replace these images. It works whenever it wants to, so it's, I will make a backup and just play with it, see what happens. It's kind of very complicated the way it works. It's pure binary editing, and it's a headache. So I did what I could. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you can get custom images into the game. You can also do that for album art, for your logo. So this is kind of fun because you can put in any kind of image here. Like you can put an official photograph and just put it into here, put it in the game. And now you can use a photograph in the game on the t-shirts, on your band logo. So that's kind of fun. But only if it wants to work. So it's worth trying out, but it's just a fun little feature. I also added this just because, again, nerd. So if you want to do like a little exporting and you don't have Photoshop, you don't even need Photoshop anymore. You can come here, you can put your own background if you want, and then you can right click, export composite image. And here is Weird Al with this little background. I thought that was fun. Well, I'm gonna stop because I'm not getting any questions. I've been going for way too long. It is hot. It is Miami. Probably just gonna go to the beach. Suck it. If you're not in Miami, sucks for you. I hope it was useful. I mean, I don't know if it was. I think the tools are useful generally. I use them every day. I use them pretty much for everything. I rely on my own tools. And I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people want new features to be added. I do not have the time anymore to really spend too much time on this. When I have free time, I have spent it on it, but it's just, life moves on. Unfortunately, now I'm a married man, I'm an adult, I have a career. So I can no longer spend, 40 hours a week programming anymore. But I'm still willing to make fixes and changes. So if you notice anything needs fixing, let me know. I hope this was useful. And I have not heard anything I've said for the last hour and a half. So hopefully it even sounded right, because I have no idea. In any case, this is Trojan Nemo signing out. See you on the forums.